Jo here. Welcome to another Time for Tea Designs video. Today's video is the edited version of our Facebook Live from Thursday night. And during that Facebook Live, we introduced some brand new products from a friend of ours who joined us at the NEC at the Stitches Show this last weekend. Thirsty Brush. So Claire was in the next booth to us, and she very kindly let me have a play with some of her brand new products. So we've got some embossing powders, we've got an embossing starter kit which has got the embossing pen and the lovely embossing powders that go with it. So we're going to use those today, and I must apologise for the quality of the video. I've tried my best to edit out any bits that are a little bit blurry, but unfortunately I had a problem downloading the live stream, and so it's only downloaded in standard definition and not the usual HD. So it's not the quality that we're used to. But I didn't want to not upload the video because I do think that it's a really good project and a really nice card at the end. So I'm just doing a little bit of ink blending onto my background. So this is how we started. So I'm just using 3 colours of distress ink and some of our beautiful blender brushes, and I'm just applying a good base of ink onto the back of my card panel. So I'm using some squeezed lemonade and some twisted citron to start with, and then my top portion will be some of the salty ocean. And I do think that this makes for a really nice colour combination, really springy, spring-like, really fresh and bright. So, and I love how that salty ocean really blends into the twisted citron and makes a different shade of green altogether. So these go really, really well together. And as you can see, the blender brushes really help make this a much easier process. So I'm just going back in over that middle portion with the twisted citron, just so that we get a really nice blend, and then that's that back panel complete. I'm using our Unbe-leafable stencil now to create my background, and I'm first of all going to just apply this with a little bit of washi tape so that it doesn't move around, and then I'm going to just add a little bit more colour with our inks just into some of those spaces, just so that we've got a little bit more of definition to that pattern. The purposes of the video, I did cut this next section out as it was a little bit blurry, but I did just dry off that distress ink with my heat tool, just so that we had a nice dry surface to apply some of our anti-static powder. And the reason that I've done that is because we're now going to use this embossing pen, and I'm going to use this pen just to outline each of the shapes within my stencil. So I'm starting off using the brush end. I do love that this has got a dual tip to it. So we've got a brush tip and we've got a fine line like a bullet nib. So for the larger shapes, I'm using my brush nib, and then for the smaller areas, for those little circles, I'm going to use the bullet nib. So again, I'm sorry that this does just keep going in and out of focus a little bit. I don't know what was happening. We had some gremlins that prevented me from downloading the video straight from the live. But once I've outlined all of those areas, I can now add my gold digger, which I love the name of, embossing powder. So I'm just throwing that on all over my my inked areas, and you can see that I've missed some patches, but that's okay because we can go back in and fill those in afterwards. So once I've fully covered that with all of my powder, I do then just dry that off with my heat gun. And again, it's not a great image, so I've not shown you much of that because it's not the best quality. But once that has dried, I then go back in over some of the areas that I've missed. So I fill those in, add some more of my gold digger powder, and again use my heat tool to set that in place. Once that's all complete, and you will be able to see the shine in the pictures better at the end of the video, I'm using the Hello Nesting dies to cut my panel from that embossed background, and that's just makes for a really nice a nice white border onto my card panel. I'm now going to use my thanks sentiment die, and I've first of all cut out the background with my vellum. So that's the outline piece, and then I've cut the main sentiment using some black card. And for my second sentiment, I'm just stamping You Are the Best from the Say Anything stamp set. And again, we're going to do some more heat embossing. So I've used the luminosity embossing ink and some of the bright white embossing powder that comes from the Thirsty Brush and Co kits. And I love that this has got like a little shaker lid to it, so you don't have to pour it all out at once. You can just shake a little bit of the powder out from the top of the pot, which I think is a really great idea. So once that's been embossed, I'm using the banner die that comes in the Best Fishes border and banner die set just to cut out my sentiment strip. And I'm just doing that twice so that I can create that fishtail banner a little bit smaller on each end. And you can see how the thanks sentiment just about with the blurry image there, how that sentiment pops on the back of the vellum and against that lovely colourful background that we've created. I did initially, as part of the live video, if you watched, make one from some gold. So I used the sentiment and I dipped that in the ink and then used some gold embossing powder, which looked absolutely gorgeous, but it was just a bit too much gold on gold. So we really wanted it to pop that sentiment. So we decided in the end to make it a black sentiment. So my back panel, I've just layered up on some foam tape there. And now I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue to the back of that die cut sentiment. And then I can pop that onto my vellum outline. And when I come to add a little bit of dimension onto the back of here with some of my foam squares, I can pop those just where you see the sentiment through the back. So you won't then be able to see my my foam pads through the vellum. So that's a really nice thing to do, so that you don't see any of your adhesive through your card. Just adding a few of these squares where you won't be able to see them, and some of them will get stuck to my fingers because I hadn't quite unpacked all of my equipment from the show, so I didn't have my poke tool to hand. But I've just positioned that in the middle of the card base there, and then for my second sentiment, again, I'm just using some of those foam pads to create a bit of dimension, and then that I'll just line that up underneath the thanks sentiment. So that's the card complete, and you can see the shine from that embossing powder. It is absolutely beautiful. It's like liquid gold. It's really gorgeous. So I definitely recommend you checking that out. Really hope that you enjoyed the project today. Thank you so much for watching and bearing with us with our technical difficulties. If you did like the video, then please do like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be here again next week with another cool project. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye bye now.